So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to lecture number 7 of Geography Environment in this lecture series called Prelims Powerplay 2026. Through this lecture series, you will get to revise your entire syllabus. Yes, I repeat, entire syllabus for UPSC Prelims examination. And for all of this, you just have to spend 1 hour every day. Just spend 1 hour every day from today till your Prelims examination and everything would be revised. Static portion as well as current affairs. You don't have to refer to any current affairs magazines, monthly magazines, PT 365s, nothing whatsoever. Just follow this lecture series. And if you really want yourself to not panic in the end days, 1 month before your exam, if you really want to save yourself from that panic mode, well, follow this lecture series from today because you don't have to worry about your revision for your entire syllabus if you follow this lecture series diligently, regularly. Now, you have to follow all the steps if you really want to get the benefit of this lecture series, okay? Just watching the lecture would be job half done because you will have to be regular with the lecture series. Every day, the lectures would drop on YouTube at 9 p.m. But along with that, you'll be given notes. Memorize those notes. It's very important, okay? Otherwise, your revision is incomplete. Memorize them. Then definitely and surely, you will have some doubts. We will put you in our WhatsApp groups, which are for your doubts only, 24/7 active. Ask your doubts anytime and we will resolve all of them. And along with this lecture series, we are also providing you a test series, an exhaustive list of tests. Be regular with the tests. Now, as far as the lecture is concerned, that would come on YouTube. Be regular with that. But for notes, for WhatsApp groups and for test series, you would have to register on our app or on our website. Now, the registration details as to how to register, well, the details are given in the comment section below. Along with that, there is a number also. If you're finding any difficulty when it comes to registration, well, just give us a WhatsApp on that number and we will guide you through the entire process. But register now and forget about worrying for your revision. This will take care of everything. So join and register for Prelims Powerplay 2026, okay? All right, enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture, okay? And our today's topic of discussion is Wetlands and Ramsar Convention, okay? In the portion of or in the syllabus of Geography and Environment, wetlands are very important. And if you are covering the topic of wetlands, well, you'll definitely cover the topic of this international convention called Ramsar Convention. Now, there have been a few developments with respect to Indian wetlands and this international Ramsar Convention. Okay, so we will cover all of that, but we will prepare you for everything related to wetlands and Ramsar Convention. All the information from which questions MCQs can be asked in your prelims examination would be covered in today's lecture with respect to wetlands and Ramsar Convention. Okay, so pay close attention. Okay, pay close attention. Give me your 100%, and this topic would be done and dusted for your exams. All right. Okay, then. So let's begin today's lecture. So Geography Environment lecture number 7, and the name of the topic is Wetlands and Ramsar Convention. Okay. Now, do you know wetlands are very important for any ecosystem? They provide a lot of ecosystem services, okay? And to conserve these wetlands internationally, there is this international convention called Ramsar Convention. But we'll come to Ramsar Convention. First, let's talk about wetlands. What are wetlands? Okay? Well, let's take a look at the definition. So, wetlands are unique ecosystems where water covers the soil or is present near the surface. It is not covering the soil entirely, it is near the surface. For example, shallow lakes, rice fields, swamps, deltas, estuaries, okay? They are part terrestrial, part aquatic ecosystems, right? Covers the soil or is present near the surface for a significant part of the year, creating conditions that support special types of plants and special types of animals. Wetlands are those ecosystems which cannot be completely called terrestrial, which cannot be completely called aquatic. They are a mix between the two. And because they are a mix of sorts, where they support some special types of plants, which are nowhere to be found in terrestrial or aquatic ecosystems. Some special types of animals also, which rely on these wetlands. Clear? Now, wetlands are found on every continent. Remember this fact. They are found everywhere except Antarctica. Now, examples of wetlands, well, marshy areas where water gets collected, swamps, again, a very enhanced form of marshes, bogs and bends, partial lakes, mangroves in West Bengal, Sundarbans, floodplains, which are flooded partially every year, and even human-made reservoirs, human-made artificial lakes. They're all called wetlands. Now, what is the role of wetlands? Why are they important? Well, they maintain ecological balance. We'll talk about their role, okay? But I'm just giving you a brief overview of what is their role in brief, okay? They support biodiversity. Of course, these specialized plants and animals, they are supported by wetlands. They provide essential services to nature and human societies. Do you know wetlands are known as kidneys of the ecosystem? Because kidneys in our human body do the job of purification. Wetlands also do the job of purification. How? We'll talk about it, don't worry. But they provide services to nature and they also provide services to human societies. I'll give you an example. Well, there are so many fishermen that depend on these wetlands for their food security as well as livelihood security. And there are many other things on which humans depend on. So, for those human communities, wetlands are very important. Their conservation is very important. Okay. Now, these are some of the examples of wetlands like marshy areas, swamps, permanently submerged terrestrial areas, bogs and fens, partially submerged, and they're submerged underwater only during some part of the year. Then saline wetlands, salty lakes, then rice fields also. Because you all know that rice fields are submerged underwater. Rice requires a lot of water. And many other examples like, well, marshes, swamps, mangroves, floodplains and estuaries. So deltas are half, or estuaries are half deltas, okay? Deltas were not able to completely form. So that is why we all know the difference between estuaries and delta. I need not get into that, okay? Otherwise the lecture would be diverted, okay, digress and extra long. So let's not get into that, but you understand what estuaries are, what deltas are, okay? All of them are wetlands and bogs and bends. Clear? Now let's talk about the role played by wetlands. Why are they so crucial? Why does humanity protect them? Why is there a need to protect them? Surely these wetlands provide a lot of services, okay? So let's talk about significance and importance of wetlands, okay? So first let's talk about their ecological significance, okay? Their ecosystem related significance. So wetlands are home to about 40% of the world's biodiversity. Imagine 40% of the world's biodiversity, flora and fauna, plants and animals reside in wetlands, making them vital for conservation efforts. So protect wetlands, you'll protect at least 40% of these species, okay? Then these wetlands are biodiversity hotspots where biodiversity is immense, huge. Diverse types of plants and animals would be found over here, okay? Wetlands provide habitats for threatened and endangered species, acting as nurseries for fish and nesting sites for birds. Then nutrient cycling. They facilitate the cycling of nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, supporting healthy aquatic systems. Through the activities of plants and animals, various nutrients get into land, then get into water, and they are recycled every time, okay? Water purification. Because these wetlands act as natural filters. They have sediment. So they have natural barriers. So if you divert polluted water towards a wetland, well, it will filter it because it has sediments and many other barriers. It acts like a sieve. So when a polluted water enters a wetland and when it gets out of it, it becomes clean water because they act as purifiers. And it is because of this precise reason they are called kidneys of the ecosystem. So many surrounding communities are dependent on these wetlands for their supply of drinkable water, pure water. Okay, so this is there. Then these wetlands are also important for climate change. They provide climatic services also, climatic significance. Wetlands are crucial in the fight against climate change due to their ability to sequester, absorb carbon from the atmosphere and regulate water cycles. First of all, these wetlands act as carbon sinks. Wetlands, peatlands, mangroves store large amounts of carbons in their soils and vegetations, helping to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. Then flood and drought control. Because if there is a flood, the surplus water will be absorbed by this wetland and flood would be controlled. If there is a drought, these wetlands have water. They will release water into the drought prone areas. So they act as buffer against flood and drought. So they avert natural disasters like flood and droughts. Plus, wetlands in coastal areas like mangroves, they protect against storms and even tsunamis also. If there is a heavy mangrove forest and if there is a tsunami surge, well, it acts as a barrier to stop that wave surge, tsunami surge. So this is there. But these are environment related benefits. There are other benefits of wetlands also. They help the communities around it. There are socio-economic and cultural benefits of wetlands. What are these? Wetlands provide numerous benefits to human societies, including food, water, livelihoods. First of all, water supply, okay, for irrigation, fisheries, drinking water. They provide livelihoods. Wetlands support agriculture, aquaculture, fishing, tourism, plus ecotourism, because many international birds come to these wetlands, providing income and employment opportunities. Plus, these wetlands have cultural value. Wetlands have spiritual, recreational, aesthetic significance, contributing to the well-being of local communities. For example, in Rajasthan, there is this lake called Pushkar Lake. That is significant not just from the perspective of nature lovers, it also has religious significance. So there are huge cultural contributions made by these wetlands as well. Clear? Now the thing is, like everything in our environment, wetlands are also susceptible to threats. Okay? What are these threats? What sort of threats are faced by these wetlands because of which there was a need to conserve them? Surely they are facing some threats. So let's take a look at all these threats one by one. Okay? So number one, unsustainable development. Cities are expanding, agricultural fields are expanding, and they encroach upon these wetlands. Large-scale loss due to conversion of agriculture, housing, industry, and infrastructure. This is there. Then there is heavy pollution. Most of these wetlands are polluted by pesticide or fertilizer-ridden water from agricultural fields, industrial waste, sewage, heavy metals. These heavy metals, these pollutants not only destroy the wetlands, they also destroy the aquatic life in these wetlands, harming the fishermen of that area. Then hydrological alterations, altering the natural flow of water by building dams. So what happens is these wetlands are created because there is a source of water that is bringing water to these wetlands. Sometimes that source is blocked by constructing a dam, a dike, water diversion projects, and urban drainage sometimes disrupts these wetland ecosystems, and they don't get water, and these wetlands dry up. This is there. Then there are other threats as well. Okay. Sometimes there is an invasive species that destroys all the other species in that wetland. Introduction of non-native invasive species such as water hyacinth and killer shrimp often outcompetes native species for resources and spreads diseases. This is a threat. Some farmers introduce some shrimps because they're doing shrimp farming. That shrimp destroys all the other aquatic species. Climate change. Change in temperature and rainfall patterns and extreme weather events threaten wetland stability and overexploitation. Because human population is rising. Therefore, there is high demand for fishes. So fishermen are basically overexploiting that wetland for fishes. So increasing human populations leading to harvesting of wetland resources for food, fuel, raw material, and everything. This is also destroying that. They're not exploiting the wetland sustainably, they're overexploiting it. And this is a problem. Yes? Make sense? Okay. So this is all you need to know as far as wetlands are concerned. This information will come in handy in your mains examination as well. But it will also come in handy in your prelims. Remember this thing. Wetlands are called kidneys of the ecosystem. Remember this information. Okay. Now let's talk about very important international convention which is there to protect wetlands internationally, and that is Ramsar Convention. You see, wetlands suffer from these threats which we just discussed internationally. All wetlands are suffering from these problems. But we all know that wetlands provide a lot of natural and man-made services. Okay, wetlands are very important. You need to conserve wetlands. Everyone realizes this. But wetlands are getting destroyed on a daily basis. Everyone realizes this as well. Therefore, a need was felt. Okay, people internationally thought that let's create an international law. Under that international law, first we'll define wetlands. Then we'll define which wetlands are wetlands of international importance. And wetlands identified as wetlands of international importance will be conserved. How will they be conserved? Well, this international law will give certain rules and regulations which every country has to follow. Okay. Now, this entire legal framework was given under Ramsar Convention. Okay. So, Ramsar Convention defines wetlands, gives the criteria for identifying wetlands of international importance, and gives the guidelines as to how individual countries who are signatories to Ramsar Convention shall protect wetlands as per the rules and regulations of Ramsar Convention, so that wetlands can be conserved internationally. You understand my point, right? So this is Ramsar Convention. Now let's gather some details about Ramsar Convention. Okay, so about Ramsar Convention. So Ramsar Convention is called Ramsar because the convention was adopted in Ramsar, Iran. It's a city in Iran. But the official name of this convention is Convention on Wetlands of International Importance. Okay, it is an international treaty established in 1971 in Ramsar, Iran, and that is why it is called Ramsar Convention. Okay, the official name is this. Now, there are 171 contracting parties who signed this convention worldwide, with numerous wetlands designated under the Ramsar list. The wetlands that are designated under Ramsar list are called wetlands of international importance. India is also a signatory and has ratified this treaty, by the way. What is the role of Ramsar Convention? Defines wetlands, guidelines for their conservation, public education campaigns, international collaboration. It supports international collaborations. If two countries want to collaborate to conserve their own wetlands or a cross-border wetland, well, Ramsar Convention provides a framework for these countries to do so. Okay, so this is their role. Now, there are three main pillars of Ramsar Convention. It's very important for you to listen to them. Okay, what are these three main pillars? First is identify Ramsar sites. Identify wetlands of international importance. Okay, so countries designate wetlands of international importance known as Ramsar sites, which are included in the Ramsar list. The sites that are included in Ramsar list, well, Ramsar Convention provides rules and regulations so as to ensure wise use of wetlands. Contracting parties commit to implementing national policies, plans, laws, management actions to ensure wetlands are used sustainably as per the rules and regulations of Ramsar Convention. Okay, and it also facilitates international cooperation, encourages collaboration among countries, especially for wetlands shared across borders. These are the three pillars: wise use of wetlands, designation of Ramsar sites, international cooperation. Simple? Okay. Now, what is the selection criteria? How are wetlands identified and included in this Ramsar list and called wetlands of international importance? Well, to qualify as a Ramsar site, a wetland must meet at least one of the 9 agreed criteria. So, Ramsar Convention has given 9 criteria. If any wetland fulfills any one of these criteria, they become eligible to be included in Ramsar list. Now, what are these 9 criteria? It is not important for you to remember all these 9 criteria, but they are mentioned in your notes. Just give a brief look. Okay. Now, what is the detailed process? How does a wetlands journey begin and ends at them being listed as Ramsar site? Okay, so selection process. Number 1 process is that every country will create a national wetland inventory. They will create a list of wetlands in their countries. Okay, then if they find that any one particular wetland fulfills any of these 9 criteria, they will send a proposal to Ramsar Secretariat. Okay, they will submit this to Ramsar Secretariat. Ramsar Secretariat will review it, and after exhaustive review, they will designate it as a Ramsar site. After a particular wetland has been declared a Ramsar site, it has to be continuously monitored whether it is being managed as per the provisions of Ramsar Convention or not. Clear? This is the entire process. Okay. Now, one more thing you need to know about Ramsar Convention. Okay, and that is, well, what is the institutional architecture of Ramsar Convention? What organizations were formed under Ramsar Convention? Okay, so this is the institutional architecture. So the highest decision-making body under Ramsar Convention is Conference of Contracting Parties, which happens almost every 1, 2, 3 years. The primary policy-making organ comprising all signatory governments meeting triennially. That means once every 3 years to review the progress and set priorities. So this COP is the highest decision-making body, which meets once every 3 years. Remember this. Okay. Then under COP, there is standing committee. Whatever decisions have been taken under COP will be implemented. For implementing that, should be a body. That body is standing committee. An executive body elected by COP to manage the secretariat and conventional affairs between meetings. Okay. Then, to gather scientific data on wetlands, there is a scientific and technical review panel which will give technical advice. And to do all the back-end paperwork, there is a secretariat. Ramsar Convention shares its secretariat with IUCN. IUCN Secretariat and Ramsar Convention Secretariat are common, and that is in Gland, Switzerland. Remember this, it is in Switzerland. Simple. So this is Ramsar Convention. Now let's talk about India and Ramsar Convention. Okay, what has been India's role in Ramsar Convention? So India and Ramsar Convention. So let's gather some important facts. India is a signatory to Ramsar Convention, having ratified it on 1st February 1982. India currently has the highest number of Ramsar sites in South Asia, a total of 94. Okay, this 94th site was added this November only, late October and early November. This 94th site was Gogabeel Lake in Bihar. This is the latest edition, Gogabeel Lake in Bihar. Okay, this was added in November or late October only. Earlier it was 93, now it's 94. Now, the thing is that there will be a national administrative authority for every country. Every country will have a national administrative authority that will be the middleman between India and Ramsar Convention. Okay, this NAA, National Administrative Authority, will be responsible for implementing everything related to Ramsar Convention in India. So NAA for India is Ministry of Environment. So remember this. If there is any proposal for including a new wetland into Ramsar list, that proposal will also be sent by Ministry of Environment. Now, does India have any rules and regulations for protecting wetlands? Yes. Legal protection for wetlands under India's jurisdiction is also strengthened by Wetlands Conservation and Management Rules 2017. Okay. Now, some more facts about Ramsar sites in India. Key facts. Tamil Nadu has the highest number. Remember these facts. These are important for prelims. Tamil Nadu has the highest number of Ramsar sites. Okay, 20. Largest Ramsar site by area is Sundarbans in West Bengal. Smallest is Renuka Lake in Himachal Pradesh. And the first Ramsar site that was, the first wetland in India that was included in Ramsar list was Chilka Lake and Keoladeo National Park of Rajasthan. Okay, these were the first Ramsar sites. Chilka Lake was the first. Okay, this is the thing. Clear? Now, here's the map of all these Ramsar sites. Okay, as you can see, there are 94. You can't remember 94 wetlands. Okay, so you don't have to remember, just remember the major ones like Chilka Lake, Keoladeo National Park. Okay, or the Ramsar sites that were in news. For example, Gogabeel Lake was in the news this year in Bihar, the latest one. So it is important for you. Okay, now, under Ramsar Convention, there is another list. All these wetlands that are included in Ramsar list, some of them are really threatened. Okay, they need emergency response. Some of them are doing fine, but some of these wetlands in Ramsar list are really threatened and they might become extinct in the near future. You need to solve this problem immediately. You require an emergency response. Okay, so a separate list, kind of a sub list of Ramsar list, okay, is also created, and these are the wetlands that require immediate attention. Once that wetland is restored, they are excluded from that list, removed from that list. And that list is called Montreux Record. A voluntary register of wetland sites on the Convention on Wetlands list of Ramsar. Okay, a wetland is added if there are signs of change in its ecological character due to factors like pollution, tech development, or other human activities. Inclusion on the record often leads to Ramsar Advisory Mission. Then Ramsar Advisory Mission comes to this wetland and advises how you can restore it. A site can be removed if restoration efforts are successful. Like Chilka Lake was included in this, but then it was restored and now it is no longer in Montreux Record. But Keoladeo National Park is still here in Rajasthan. Okay, nonetheless, this is the thing. All right. Now, in your notes, there is some extra information as well. And that extra information is, well, certain recent news related to wetlands. For example, well, Gogabeel Lake, some information regarding Gogabeel Lake is given because it was in the news. Then, well, recently in the month of September, COP 15 of Ramsar Convention was conducted, in which India gave a proposal. So, information regarding that will also be given in your notes because this conference occurs once every 3 years. So it occurred in 2025. So it becomes important for us. Okay. So this information is also given in your notes. And that would be all. With that, we conclude today's session. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. Okay. And it will add more value if you're consistent with this lecture series and you follow all these 4 steps. Watch the lecture, memorize from the notes. Okay. Memorize. Then ask your doubts. We are here to help you out only. Ask your doubts in these WhatsApp groups and be regular with the test. We have carefully prepared this test series. Make the most out of it. Extract the biggest advantage that you can. Okay? Because if you will, you'll definitely clear your prelims exam. Okay? So with that, I will be signing off with the promise of seeing you again with another topic in this lecture series called Prelims Powerplay 2026. Thank you, everyone.